Thank you for joining us at Farmingdale High School for one of the great rivalries in Nassau County. The Massapequa Chiefs storm in off a 4-game winning streak. The Farmingdale Dalers, your defending Long Island champions. It's Massapequa and Farmingdale right now on the Varsity Media Sports Network. And we wanted to remind you that today's game is presented by Orland and Cohen. I'm Gavin Schall, joined by longtime Syosset assistant coach Joe Taglia. Joe, you've had an opportunity to see both these teams this year. Massapequa, a lot of people thought it'd be a rebuild for them, and instead they've been excellent. 7-4, 4 straight wins. Farmingdale, they lost a lot of talent off that state finalist team from a year ago, rebounding and getting better as this year goes along.
Top of James M. Stewart Stadium on the campus of Hofstra University for this New York State Class D championship game. I'm Gavin Schall alongside former Israeli national team midfielder Dave Franklin. Dave, Cold Spring Harbor comes in the defending state champs, the Marcellus Mustangs, in this game for the first time, 18-3 on the season. What do they have to do to pull off the upset today?
Swings it around. Post up. Lewis looking for another miracle. Jump shot wasn't good. Let's wait and see. No signal from the officials yet. He was in the crease. No goal. Garden City ball. 6 seconds on the clock. And Garden City is going to escape and win another Nassau crown in dramatic fashion over Calhoun. History denied. Trojans win again.
And Matt Hellman leads the break. Meyer finally gets his hands free and puts in a low goal to tie this game at 2 apiece.
Alec Gregoric, jump shot. Oh, man, a magic trick from the senior. He's leading Suffolk County in goals for a reason. Haggerty, that goal in the first half. Same position, same result. Aiden Haggerty ties it up at 6. Aiden Finkelstein, that crease roll. Top right corner, gets it to go. Over the 6'1", Dennis Bargione. Lewis attempting to do just that. Battling for room. Drawing two. Taking checks. Continuing to dodge against the triple team. A magic trick from Jake Lewis. He did it again. Call him Houdini. We're tied. Remember, Dave, Southside the team, everyone expected to be here. That golden generation, Tommy Gentile, Michael Melkonian, an incredible junior class leading the attack unit. They beat Calhoun during the regular season. The Colts able to come back and get a 6-5 win. The Garden City Trojans dominating Long Beach 7-2. Felt like a game that was never that close, and we'll see if that unrelenting Trojans defense can contain one of the leading scorers in Nassau County and Jake Lewis.
And again, the fact that Calhoun won that game over Southside shorthanded without two of their best players in Molinari and Fawn, and having Peter Toman play a variety of roles really willed them to that victory to get them back to have this opportunity to rematch Garden City in the Class B final.
And looks like RJ Vitruba gonna knock it to Andrew Ottamanelli. Garden City will have the opening face-off of this game. Calhoun, keys to the game, according to head coach Jim Feminella. They want to face off over 50%, clear the ball over 80%, and shot placement already down 1 on face-offs. The Garden City Trojans, that's the one difference this year. Not quite as dominant in that facet, but RJ Vitruba and the 8th grader, that is rare at Garden City, Braden Robertiello, have improved and improved over the course of the year. And now we get a look at the Trojans offense.
Henry Gibbons starting to hold court here as Farmingdale gets into a 1-4-1. Exchange through acts with Jack Archer.
It's a quiet game for the Duke commit, Stevie Fennell. Against Long Beach, just 1 goal on what was essentially his only aggressive offensive moment of the game. Carson Krause, he wasn't quiet last time out. The junior had a hat trick.
Stevie Fennell went into beast mode on that one, and that was a very much needed goal for Garden City at the time as Henry Gibbons misses wide.
As he's firing on Mark Restivo, the junior. Dave, fantastic against Southside, 13 saves, winning the goalie duel against one of the best, not only on Long Island, but in America, and Tommy Gentile.
Yep, Tommy Gentile, again, college prospect going to BU, older than Restivo, and he really did win that battle today, and it was a good one.
Oh, as Krause uncorks one off the crossbar. That was inches away from being the opening goal of this game as we get another look.
Restivo going to get some help off the pipe. Came in at a good angle to bounce out of bounds for the junior goalkeeper. But yeah, there's no question about it. We talked about how Peter Toman did a variety of different things to help will Calhoun to that victory. Mark Restivo standing strong in between the pipes. Definitely a big part of why the Colts are back here today trying to win their first Class B championship in a rematch from last year's game, which Garden City won.
Gibbons hunting for room. Bounce shot goes wide.
Calhoun lost to Garden City by 7 goals last year. And again, just looking to keep that miracle vibe going to get their first county championship.
Fennell gets a step and Restivo snatches it out of midair. That's going to be a fun matchup to watch. Fennell against Peter Toman, a preview of Duke against North Carolina.
Tobacco Road rivalry in the ACC. Stevie Fennell, that's what he likes to do. Find a power move into a jump shot. Restivo saw that one all the way. For what it's worth, as it relates to the Battle of the Dodge, I think that Fennell did a good job of getting his hands free in space there on Toman, but the junior goalie rings the bell. Still hot off that game against Southside.
He was fantastic in that one and tends to play his best in the biggest moments. And when we talk about that 12-5 game a year, that was a game where Mark Restivo had 15 saves. Certainly could have been worse for Calhoun. And this will be our first look at AJ Molinari wearing number 6. Again, we were told earlier this week that he was unlikely to play in this game, so it'll be interesting to see how unhealthy he is or if he's out there mostly as a diversion.
He is playing on the crease. His left leg is taped up pretty good, so we'll see.
Stevie Fennell forcing the turnover. The all Long Island running back races off the field. Bounce shot from the stick of Archer deflected, and that's easy stuff for Restivo.
Jake Lewis had to come back on defense on the ride for Calhoun. He's the one to get that ground ball and bring it in.
Wow.
I wouldn't do too much here with the double. Smart of him to pull it out. Really impressed with Jake Lewis. His offensive capabilities were a big reason why the Colts were able to take down the Southside Cyclones. There's a lot of aspects to Lewis's game that makes him a shifty player. It shows that he's a hockey player. Again, a USHL draft pick. Was talking to Coach Feminella about his future at Long Island University. LIU, again, is D1 in lacrosse and ice hockey. I was curious to see if Lewis would play both sports, which would be really, really hard to do. But he's focusing on lacrosse. The fact of the matter is, we talked about this with David Desquie at IACID, right? If you want to play college hockey, you usually have to take a year or two after high school to further develop and grow, and then kind of enter your freshman year as a 20-year-old.
And pass snuck by Molinari and now sneaks into the back of the net. Jaden Finkelstein, a hat trick a game ago, picks up where he left off, and the Colts lead it 1-0 over Garden City.
Good possession for Calhoun. They kind of get this goal off of a broken play to a certain degree, as Jaden Finkelstein was able to get that errant pass off the ground ball. He comes down the alley and finds just a little bit of space in that top corner past Fargione, and Calhoun. David strikes first.
The Muhlenberg commit puts Calhoun on the board coming off a game. 3 goals, 1 assist. The offensive MVP along with Jake Lewis against the Cyclones. And how about that? Ryan Menke able to win the second, though he kicked it. And it will be Colts ball. Starts in the stick of Peter Toman. We mentioned the North Carolina commit. You talk to all these coaches over the year, Dave. I don't know if I've heard a coach talk as glowingly about a player as Steve or Jim Feminella does about Peter Toman.
Peter Toman, he called him like Mr. Calhoun Lacrosse. He really does act as the face of that program. And again, we've seen so many talented log polls just over the course of the last week, but even over the course of the season, Gavin. We were talking about Brett Spalina, but Peter Toman really has shown that he is the most complete athletic long pole on Long Island, or at least rivals for that title, again, against guys like Tristan Malahi, Matt Melling, Matt Kephart, Cole Weber as well. Cole Weber, again, that's a future ACC matchup. They might be on the wing together as Weber goes to UVA and Toman goes to North Carolina, as the Cavaliers and Tar Heels will see each other in the future as these guys continue their careers after their Long Island high school careers are done. One of their careers will end today.
Jaden Finkelstein. We're going to go at that matchup. Finkelstein gets a step again, takes a late hit, and this one eaten up by Dennis Fargione. But on the clearance, a little sloppy for Garden City. Blake Cascadin able to scoop it up for a second. Now a battle along that far sideline. Garden City able to knock it off the nearest Colts.
Yeah, that was a heads-up play by Matt Kephart to goose that into the leg of the Calhoun player to keep the ball there. Again, heads-up play for a future Ivy League player going to Princeton to play for Matt Madelon. That was high IQ stuff for sure.
Garden City, again, they don't necessarily have the same frontline talent across the board that they did a year ago. Of course, Jack Cascadin, Brendan Staub, both two-time All-Americans. That is an extraordinarily rare honor. Obviously not just on Long Island, but in the country. And you talked to Steve Fennell. He said, look, you can't help but be a different team after losing those two guys. But 14-4, top 25 in the country, nearly as good as ever. Restivo, another save. Can't save that. Andrew Ottamanelli ties this thing up at 1.